Hello everyone, how are you guys doing? Welcome to our live stream. I'm really sleepy because it's really early over here, but I didn't want to let you guys wait any longer, so we're gonna continue. I had a unexpected call last night, so I had to stay up later to deal with it, but it was a great call, so now I'm really sleepy. Oh, who do we have here? We got Palakurthi Siddhartha, we got Mech, we got Sworder, we got Icy Film, and we got Walker Maker. How are you guys? Good morning, good night, wherever you are. Sworder, I got your message. So you are from Bangladesh. That's nice. Let me open my notepad here so that we can start filling our map. So Bangladesh is the first one for today. Cool. So on the thumbnail, I was thinking about continuing with the book, but I'm really sleepy right now. So if you guys are okay with it, we can continue with the character that we were doing yesterday. Let me know in the comments, what should we do? Should we do the book or should we do the character? And I'll try my best for either. Icy Film says, I have only 2 monitors but 3 modeling teachers leave. I'm listening now. Help. Oh well, that's it's definitely a complicated problem for you, my friend. It's definitely tricky. Character. Okay, we got a vote for character. I would prefer to do the character as well because it's a little bit less thought intensive. Let's see. Both. we'll do the alien today, and we'll do the I'll change the thumbnail and everything later, and we'll do the book on Monday. Okay. That way, we can create something cool for this guy right here. So, I was feeling the map yesterday, or scratching actually the map yesterday, the one that we have over here, and we're missing a lot of countries. I thought we're on a better spot, but we're missing a lot of countries. Andy, welcome, my friend. Welcome. So, Walker Maker has a question. It says, may I ask a question? I'm considering leaning towards creature character design. Zbrush is pretty much a must, but is Substance Painter and Maya needed too? Yes, you need to have the whole thing, man. I mean, you can get away with just like Zbrush, especially now that it has like ray tracing and rendering included, but it's always very valuable if you know the whole pipeline. And there are certain things that are a little bit easier to model or tweak inside of Maya that they are inside of Zbrush. So yeah, you can do that. Icy Film says, dear teacher, I may ask how to merge 2 separate subtools into one body, for example arms merging with... Yeah, it's very simple. So first you need, of course, like 2 subtools. So let's say I have this sphere right here, and I use it to make the torso or the body, right? Go back a little bit here. There we go. So let's say we want to create like the torso of the character. We just do something like this, and then we want to merge them, right? So I'll need to go to my element right here, move it so they're both like one on top of the other, and then I'm gonna do a merge down, and that will merge them. And then when you do Dynamesh, it will just like be like together. So that's how you would do it. I'm not gonna do it right now because it's gonna delete all of the detail that I have right there, but that's the way to merge 2 things. So there, good morning and 1 cup of coffee. Yeah, I definitely need a coffee. I'm gonna ask my wife if she can make one for me, because it's a little bit earlier than usual. Well, it's not that early. It's 8 a.m., but 8:30 a.m. But again, the late call from yesterday was unexpected. Brunei. Where is Brunei? I will definitely add that one to the map. Let's look for Brunei. Oh, wow. That's really cool, man. There you go. Nice. The Unknown Man. Interesting. It's a really small country. Brunei. Wow, nice. So is this the Philippines then? Are you like inside the Philippines? Or is this Brunei as well? Oh, you're surrounded by Malaysia and South China. So this is Malaysia then. Interesting. Wow. Yeah, I see film. After that, you just Dynamesh and things are gonna be like welded together pretty much. Let me look for a hammerhead shark. So I wanna use a little bit of inspiration for this guy. Okay, so I'm tempted to add a secondary like set of eyes, like up here somewhere, but I don't know. Let's add some heavier eye bags here. A little bit of the tear duct. There we go. And then with them in the standard, we're gonna start adding what I like to call the secondary details, which are forms and elements that change the character quite a bit. There we go. Now, we should do something about the nose. Or this sort of like big bulky mass that this guy has here. Probably gonna like try and dynamic it a little bit more. I like the idea of this being like some sort of like organic hard surface thing. Kind of like a horn. Horn that grows like that. I think that looks good. Let's play a little bit with the ears as well. Because you can see right now the shape of the ear is very straight. So I'm gonna like warp it a little bit. Gotta be careful with that volume there. We don't want to push this volume back. There we go. We can start adding the similar like the cartilage that we sometimes have inside of the ears. Now his ears are very different from ours, but that doesn't mean that we can't do a little bit of what's the word? A little bit of improvisation there. I really need a coffee. Give me 1 second, guys. Hello. Let's see. I didn't work on Zbrush for months now. I want to start using Zbrush, but I just can't like concentrate. Where should I start? Try doing simple exercises like this guy right here, like just an alien or like a skull. That's always a good way to get into like the zone and start like flowing again. Because that actually happened to me with Maya. I stopped using Maya for a couple months, and eventually I had to come back and just like get used to the tools all over again. Roma, what's up, my friend? Welcome. So I'm gonna use BMT, which is the move topological, or actually BTD, trim dynamic, So I want to flatten a little bit of the jawline here. That's a great question, Icy Film. What's the difference between C intensity and focal shift? It's very easy to demonstrate. Here, let me show you. So, if you have, let's say, the standard brush, and you change the C intensity, you get more, like a more intense brush stroke, right? And if you lower this, you get like a super soft one. You can also do this by varying the pressure size or the pressure like stuff on your pen. You should be using a pen tablet or a pen display, because otherwise using the mouse is really complex or really complicated. So I can be very, very soft, or I can be very, very strong, and depending on how I do it, I'm going to change things around. Focal shift, on the other hand, is the hardness of the brush. So if we push the focal shift to the negative side, we're going to get a really hard brush, as you can see right there. So the border of the brush is going to be really strong. And if we push this all the way to the other side, it's going to be very, very soft, a very, very like smooth transition on the brush. I don't change these things too much, to be honest, but that's what they do. So focal shift is the hardness of the brush, pretty much. Actually, Zbrush shares a lot of things in common with Photoshop. They're built in a slightly similar fashion. Oh god, really falling asleep over here. Love from India says Sakit Porkaid. Thank you, my friend. I scratched India from the scratch map yesterday, because I know a lot of our students are from there. There we go. Okay, so we're in a good position here. I think we can start going into like more intense details for the character. Like most of our primary and secondary forms are looking quite nice, I would say, and we definitely need a little bit more resolution to start adding extra levels of detail. Now I do want to change this like horns a little bit. I'm gonna give them a little bit more like movement, because I feel like they're looking a little bit boring, like just a block. Looks like just like a T. So I'm thinking about like reindeers or caribous, you know, just huge antlers. There we go. Just to add a little bit of silhouette to the thing. Then train dynamic here to polish some of this stuff. And for instance, here we have something called a tangent. Tangents happen when you have 2 points of a composition of a character or whatever that are really close together, but that are not actually touching each other. So for instance, the horn right here and the ear right here, they're really, really, really close. And that's not something that you want, because it messes up with the depth of your character. So we need to either push one or the other. So I'm going to use move topological and either make the ear a little bit smaller or the horns a little bit bigger. That's really, really important that we try to avoid tangents as much as possible, because they mess up the way our brain perceives the depth of the character quite a bit. So there we go. Yeah, Roma, that is my personal email. So you can send me an email there, or you can send me an email to my like Nextut email, which is, I'll share it with you. It's abraham@nextut.com. So either of those will work if you have a question. We also have the Discord channel. You can ping me over there as well. Oh, by the way, guys, we're gonna have a sale. You guys were waiting for that. I know some of you are on the fence of getting some of our courses, so we're gonna have a sale starting tomorrow. Okay, so tomorrow we're gonna start with the sale. I'll show the code in just a second. Did I scratch China? No, I haven't scratched China. There we go. China is now on the list, and I will scratch it off after the stream. Nice. Is there anyone from Ireland? I'm looking for someone from Ireland, a student from Ireland, so that we can scratch the whole UK. Well, I know it's not in the UK, but like those islands. So Ireland. Georgie, how are you, my friend? Welcome to the stream. Things are going well. Not bad. Just a little sleepy, but not bad. Antarctica. Yeah, we're missing Antarctica as well. Or are you from Antarctica, the unknown man? That's a... I'm not gonna say I don't believe you, but that's a really interesting. If you are from the Antarctica, that would be really interesting. Yeah, there are a lot of countries. There's a lot of African countries as well that we're gonna be missing, I think. Okay, so here's the deal. In order to get like a really cool detail here for the character, it will be a little bit easier if we have proper topology. And Dynamesh is great for blocking shapes, but as you guys know, it's not something that we can use to either like animate or UV or stuff like that, because it becomes really messy, right? So this is a technique that I like to use when I'm happy with the forms of my character and I want to start working on more specific like wrinkles and things like that. I'm gonna duplicate the main body of the character, and on the one on top, I'm gonna isolate it for just a second, and we're gonna do just a very basic C remeasure. What this will do is it will recreate the whole topology of our character with loops and curves and things that should be a little bit closer to what you would expect from a like animation mesh. It might not be perfect, but it should be like a really damn close. Like this is something that you could actually work with instead of Maya to rig and stuff. So this is more than perfect. I don't know if my mesh got disappeared for whatever reason, only is visible. Yeah, I don't see anything, man. I just see the little happy face. I think YouTube has some sort of like censor things, so you might have been censored there for a bad reason. I mean, I'm not saying that you wrote something bad. I'm just saying that sometimes it confuses words and might ban them or something. So what we're gonna do here is we're gonna give this a couple of subdivision levels, probably like 3 or 4, so that we match or get close to the amount of polygons that we have on the other one, this one right there. And then we're just gonna project and project all. What this will do is it will transfer all of the details that we have from the high poly, which is this one right here, into our new low poly, which as you can see has way cleaner topology. And once we have this, now we're gonna be able to work on the details of the character a lot better. Yeah. The eye loops are horrible. Like this is not something that you would use for again for like a film or something. But if you're doing just like a, I don't know, like a statue or like something that's not gonna be animated perfectly, it could help you. I mean, you could even do it for animation. It's not gonna give you the cleanest result, but we've had to do something like this every now and then when the time frames for a production are really low. And that's something that I always like to mention on the premium courses. It's the amount of time that you're given for a specific project will always change. So sometimes they'll tell you, hey, we need a character, and you're gonna get like 2 months of work to do that character. That's great because you can do really amazing stuff. But sometimes they're gonna be like, hey, we need this character in 3 days. It's like, fuck, you need to take a lot of shortcuts to make things work in a more precise way. There we go. The unknown man says, all I can say is best thing in the world has ever is Northern Lights that we saw. Yeah, the Northern Lights. Wait, but the Northern Lights are in the North Pole, aren't they? Antarctica, isn't Antarctica on the South Pole? There we go. Or maybe there are Northern Lights in the South Pole as well. Giorgio says, weird, but it's fine anyway. I was just saying that I'm tuning in for a lot of your streams and video lately. You became my go-to YouTuber in 3D space. Oh, thank you, my friend. Where are you from? Do we have your country already on our map? Your name sounds a little bit Italian, but I don't wanna make any assumptions. Emilio Hermosillo, saludos. Alpha Knife, hi, my friends. So here I'm just using my Demian standard to create like the main wrinkles of the eye. We could use alpha channels or alpha masks, but to be honest, I always like to draw at least like the big wrinkles first, and then use the alphas to create like the small wrinkles over the whole thing. God, someone's messaging me with 3D questions so early in the morning. Let's go. It's gonna be the tear duct. Now we can start doing like the membrane thing that goes towards the lips. Yeah, so we're filling up the map. Georgia says that he's actually from Georgia. No, I know Georgia. Like, I've never been there, but I know that it's a country. I'll add that to the list because we're adding the countries that people are from. So even if you don't live anymore, you are a Georgian. So, Georgia. What graphic tablet am I using? I'm using a Huion Pen Display 16, so it's 16 inches. It's the 2021 variation or version. Huion Pen Display 2021, 16 inches. It's really good. However, since I have been using like traditional tablets for so long, I'm not used to looking at the tablet. I'm still looking at the screen over there. Sometimes I do look at the tablet, but I don't know. It's just I'm so used to looking at the screen that it's a little bit difficult. Icy Film says, when I see remesh, my polygon account gets really low and my details all disappear. May I ask? Yeah, no, that happened to me as well. So here's my C remesher. This is my amount of resolution for the C remesher. So we do lose the details. It's part of the process. But what you then do is you subdivide this thing. You create subdivision levels. I created 3 of them, so I'm now in subdivision level 4. And now that I am in the subdivision level, I project all of the details from the original mesh, because we duplicated it. You can see it's right here, the original mesh. So we project those details into this one to inherit all of the information, because otherwise you're not gonna be able to capture it. The analogy that I like to use is, imagine like a bucket of water, right? And when you use C remesher, it changes from a bucket to a glass of water. So it won't be able to hold all that information. But if you subdivide, you make it bigger, you make it close to the size of the original bucket, and that way when you project, you will be able to catch most of the details. Okay, there we go. Yeah, I used a Wacom tablet for so many years. It was a Intuos Pro, it was called. I used it for so long, but then I think it was earlier last year I finally got the Huion tablet. The thing is, Wacom has really good products, but they're really expensive. I do think they overprice things a little bit, to be honest. I mean, the quality, like, it's a good quality, but it's like I think it's like iPhone and Apple, where they charge a little bit more because of the brand, like, prestige. And this one, Huion, I believe it's Chinese, and the quality is not bad. Like, it's really good. So yeah. Palakurthi says, teachers also use Unreal Engine 5. You're very good teaching. Teach more. Yeah, my friend. Thank you. I do love teaching. I'm finishing the next course. I think it's gonna be releasing next week, which is the sci-fi girl. It's like a sci-fi character, and we go over sculpting, we go over modeling. It's for the high poly. We're gonna divide that one into 2 parts, like what we did with the fantasy character. So this first part is the high sculpting character. But one of the things that I like about this one, most of you have probably already seen the concept art. Here, I'll show it again. So one of the things I like about her is that we're gonna have 2 versions. We're gonna have like the exploration mode, which is gonna be like a skin tight suit, and then we're gonna have like the battle mode, which is gonna be like a full armor. So I'm finishing this one up. It's almost done, and I'll be sharing more information about this one and next week. Yeah, Control D is a shortcut, as Roma says, for subdivision in here inside of ZBrush. Now we're gonna use Dim Standard here again to start separating the face from the this one right here. There is an Unreal Engine, like we already have several Unreal Engine 5 courses. Arash has been making those because he's the expert in Unreal Engine. So if you want to check them out, they should be on the on Udemy and ArtStation. We have some environment courses for Unreal Engine, and the next one that he's working on is going to be also going to be using Unreal Engine. So that one's going to be fun as well. Let's push this in a little bit more, the eyelid. Yeah, and we're looking for more instructors. I've been talking, like the call I was mentioning yesterday, it was with a very, very good friend of mine. And we're seeing if he can teach some classes as well. Yeah, if you're thinking about doing a full production, then rendering it instead of Unreal might be the best idea, because since it's real time, the rendering times are gonna be a lot lower than if you try to render it with Maya or Blender. You might not get, I mean, it's really good, but there are certain things that are still like a little bit wonky with the element. Let me just send a message, guys, to tell my team that the office is open so they can get in. Alpha Knife is asking, oh no, Giorgio is asking, have you worked in any of big 3D companies as an artist by any chance, or have you always done YouTube and tutorials once you learn on your own? So I own my small studio here in Mexico. I used to own another small studio, but we broke, or it got broken. It went bankrupt after the pandemic. Right now I own a studio called Hyperlab, where we do VR stuff here for the local industry. And I've been freelancing for like all of these years as well. So I have never worked in a like big AAA studio like Ubisoft or what's the word, or like Riot or Blizzard, stuff like that. But I've worked on really big projects. Like a couple of years ago, I worked on a commercial for Diablo Immortal, which was really cool. That's one of my favorite projects to show off. I've worked for a very big theme park here in Mexico called Scaret. Yeah, like I've been around, but teaching has been one of my main what's the word? It's been one of my main, one of the main things that I've been dedicating myself to. How to keep oneself motivated to study, if you experience any, and how you overcome it. Yeah, I experience it all the time, man. There's a couple of ways to do it. First of all, you need to try to be as comfortable as you can. Meaning that if there are things in your personal life that are distracting you, taking care of those is always important. Like I always tell people, this is our work, right? And we all love 3D, we all love working in this stuff. But there's other things in life that are also important. I've had friends that I had to like stop working for a couple of months because someone dear to them was sick or was or passed away or something. So personal health or mental health is really, really important to have the right mentality to be able to work. Once you have that, or if that's not an inconvenient, then the next thing is you need to be disciplined. It's more about discipline than it is about motivation, because motivation can come and go, but discipline is going to be there. I personally like to use the Pomodoro method, which is 25 minutes of work and then 5 minutes of a break. You do that 4 times and then you get a 30-minute break. And then you keep going as many times as you need to do it during the day. So I use this, let me show you. I use this Pomodoro timer here in Google, this one. And you can write the tasks, right? So for instance, I can write something like next to premium. And I'm gonna be like, okay, today I need to record, let's say 3 hours of content, okay? So that will be like 8 Pomodoros. So I just say it's going to be about 8 Pomodoros and I say save. So it says, hey, if you follow this properly, like if you record your 3 hours of tutorials, you will be finished by 1 p.m., which is great because if I don't get distracted or anything, I might have the whole afternoon free for myself, right? So I just write all down all the tasks that I normally will have to do during the day, and then just click start, and I'll give you a timer. You'll hear like a little bell icon. So that's one way to do it, to keep yourself organized and to keep yourself disciplined, so that you don't like slack off or anything. Let's see, is Zbrush really hard to learn? Trent Khan asks. I can't feel the form of the thing I'm going to sculpt. It is hard to learn. I'm not gonna lie. It has a very bad interface, so it is a little bit difficult to learn. I'm not sure if you've gotten our like introduction to Zbrush 2022 course, but if you haven't, I think I go over like the basics fairly nicely there. So that could be a good way for you to learn the ropes. One second. So yeah, that's for that one. Do you have any tips for freelancing as a beginner? Yes. You need to have a really good portfolio. That's the first one. So if you're still lacking certain skills, or you need to improve certain skills, that will be my first or my main objective, right? To increase your portfolio and offer something that is really cool. Now, as a freelancer, there's a little bit of a difference, and I do want to be very clear on this one, because it's not something that gets shared a lot. The difference between a freelancer and a studio work, like working for a studio or in a studio, is the fact that as a freelancer, usually your client is expecting you to be able to solve their issues. Well, in the studio, you're part of a bigger team, and you're going to be in charge of specific things within that team. So I'm going to give you a very simple example. One of the freelance works that I do quite often is renders. Like someone, like an architect or like a designer, that will be like, hey, I'm building this new, I don't know, like a statue, or this new house, or this new whatever complex, and we need some renders. So when they tell me that, they're not telling me that they want me to hire, or that they want to hire me for rendering. They want to hire me to do everything and deliver a final rendering. So I'm gonna have to model, sculpt, light, compose, like everything. And at the end, what they're expecting to receive is a final render, right? Same thing, let's say someone calls you and they're like, hey, I wanna do a campaign for Facebook, and I wanna use like a cute 3D character. Well, you're not only gonna be modeling the 3D character, you're gonna be doing everything until you can like submit the final like a Facebook thing that you're gonna be, or that they're gonna be using on the campaign, right? So as a freelancer, I feel like you have a little bit more responsibility, because you need to do more stuff for the client. But at the same time, I find it to be really cool, because you have a lot of creative freedom. There's no one on top of you, except for the client, telling you how things should be done, or how you need to like complete something. So that's always one of those things that I like about freelancing. There's of course freelancing for a specific studio. I've done that before, like the Diablo commercial that I mentioned. That was done that way. Like they contacted me and they wanted some specific texture work to be done, and I did it for them, like no problem. And it felt more like a traditional studio gig, where you have a responsibility about specific areas. But yeah, that's pretty much it. No, we don't have any vacancy available right now, Sayan. I'm sorry, but believe me, I do take I do have a registry of all of the students here at Nextut. And if you guys have a great portfolio, I might call you eventually to see if you can help us out. There we go. Alpha says, I understand what I take from tutors, but end up to lose motivation to create something. One of the things, there's another thing that I forgot to mention there, Alpha. So doing something that you like is a good way to get your motivation going. So for instance, if there's a game or like an anime or like a movie or like a series that you're really passionate about, you're like, oh, I love these characters, I love this series or whatever, try doing something 3D related with those characters, with those elements, and you might be and that will keep you motivated, because it's something that you like, right? So yeah, that would be another advice. Like, make sure that you like whatever you're doing. Don't do a project just because like people are telling you to do it, if you don't feel passionate about the project. Like for instance, cars, I don't like cars, right? Like I'm not really a car guy. So if someone told me, hey, could you model like a Mustang or like a Lamborghini and stuff, I could, technically speaking, but I don't like it. So I know I'm not gonna enjoy it, and I'm gonna be like having a bad time trying to get it done. So instead of that, if I need a sci-fi or if I need a hard surface model for my portfolio, I might do a spaceship, or I might do a gun or something that I find more interesting, and that will definitely keep me more motivated as well. There we go. I'm gonna get rid of these things that we have right here, but I feel like they're not really adding anything of substance. Do we have anyone from another country? We got Bangladesh, Brunei, China, and Georgia. We're filling up our map from students all over the world, and I want to see if I can get a student from every single country. If you're from Africa or East Asia, we have a lot of places missing. Anyone from the Philippines or from Thailand? Should we give him an armor, like a sci-fi armor? I think so. Let's bring his sphere over here. Musica Lyrics Passion says, I'm from India. Nice. Yeah, we got India already here on the map. India is a big country, though. We have a lot of there are a lot of regions, right? Do you guys have multiple time zones in India? In Mexico, we pretty much just have one. But I want to know if India has multiple time zones. Ethiopia, nice, nice. Alpha Knife is from Ethiopia. I'm gonna write it down, Ethiopia. IC Film says, may I ask if I want to pay to freelance for the real look animal character modeling with texture and how much should I pay to the freelancer? Is there a popular price list that freelancer 3D models usually gets paid? There's not a list per se, but there is a production cost, right? So usually the way to know how much something will cost is by getting the average salary that you would get from doing something similar, and then adding like on top of it to account for things such as like social security and stuff like that. So for instance, in the US, I know sometimes like a salary, if you're working on a studio, a salary could be something like $40 an hour for a 3D artist, like a senior 3D artist, and you get all of the benefits and stuff. But then if you're freelancing, you're probably gonna be charging, I don't know, $80 an hour or something, because when you freelance, you have to put on your own equipment and stuff like that. So there's a lot of variance, but this is for like the US, right? So if you're in another part of the world, then you are gonna have to adjust for the price or the cost of living over there. My advice is try to look for what a normal engineer makes in your country, and that's usually the range that you're gonna be what's the word? Like calculating around. Oh, sorry, man, sorry. It says one time zone in India. Okay, that's cool. And it's quince, not knife. I'm a little bit dyslexic, so I was reading it wrong. Quince. Nice. Yeah, I have some students from Russia as well, Roma. But Russia is a super huge country. I think it's the biggest country, right, in the world. Super huge. Let's have some shoulder things over here. Only one time zone in India. Interesting. Yeah, Mexico we have two, because one part of Mexico is really close to like California, so they use California time zone. But then the rest of the country is the central. I think we're Central time zone or something. I got some parts of the UK. I'm missing Scotland. I'm missing Ireland in the map. I remember we did have a student that was from Scotland, but I'm not sure if he's he's been on the live streams lately. But yeah, we already have like the main, like England. We already have England. And then there's the Faroe Islands, right? Faroe Islands. No portfolio review today. Have you submitted your portfolio, Sayan? If you submitted it, we can do a portfolio review. I can jump into it. Clate8 says, hi, I'm just loving your courses. I bought the beginner guide to ZBrush and the advanced character creation. I have a question. Is there going to be an anime figure ZBrush course in the future? Oh, you guys would like that? I don't think I've ever done an anime figure, but I'm a huge fan of Xenoblade. I'm super pumped that we're gonna have a the expansion next week, and I would love to do like something like this. Probably a female character, right? Because that's the type of characters that sell a little bit more. But yeah, I think like an anime-ish style character would be a good idea. No, I'm doing the whole state's master flex. Otherwise, it's gonna take forever. But I also know that we have a lot of people from the US. Okay, I'll add that to the list. We have a couple of like courses incoming after I finish the sci-fi girl. We've already decided on the next one. I'm not gonna spoil it yet, but I think it's gonna be a fun one. And then maybe we can do that one, because people have been asking about the rigging for the mechanical lion as well, and I do want to do that one too. Sure. So there's two ways to submit your portfolio, Sayan. Let me show you. The first one is going to a link that I'm about to share with you. Just 1 second. Yeah, so this link is a link for Google Drive. So if you drop a little note right there with your name and your link to your portfolio, you can submit it, and I can take a look at it right now. That's fine. The other way is to go to our Discord channel. I'll share the link with the Discord channel in just a second. You guys can go here to our next channel, and we have the portfolio and portfolio review. Sorry, if you want to be reviewed, it should be on the portfolio review. Portfolio is just to showcase your stuff. So last time we stopped here at Berg. So starting with Karen, we're gonna be reviewing this in May, so next month. But if you submit yours now, I can do it today. That's fine. Let me give you guys the invite to the server as well. AI technology is evolving faster and faster. Do you use Midjourney for the references? Is it bad to use Midjourney for the budget project? That's a great question. So I used DALL-E back in the Blender course that I did last year for the Gladiator, and it gave like a very rough, like stylized Gladiator. And so yeah, I mean, to be honest, AI is not going anywhere. And I think as long as you're not like if you're using it in an ethical way, like you're not trying to copy someone's specific style to sell and stuff like that, it should be okay. It's not as with everything in technology, it's how you use it, right? So I do have Midjourney and Stable Diffusion. I use it a lot for my D&D campaigns. That's been like a huge thing for me. Like here, I'll show you. Where's my D&D group? So there's a character in my D&D group who's like this old wise cat. He's like the one above all. He's in all the campaigns. He's like a mini god, right? So let me see if I have him. There we go. and I used Mid Journey to create like the image for him. Yeah, look at that. Like it took like 2 minutes or something to generate this image. And I mean, it's not perfect. You can see it has like multiple toes and a couple of things don't make sense. But for a game, for just like a quick reference of, yeah, like this is how the character looks, then that's more than enough. Thank you, David. Thank you, my friend. Sayan dropped it on Discord. Okay, so I normally don't do it like this, but let's do it. So, Sajan Haldar. Is it this one, man? Sarvesh? Is that the one? Just confirm that it's this one, and I'll go to it. Oh yes, Alpha Kimfe. Yep, I was very proud about that video because the thing about 3D, my friends, and art in general, is that art is built upon foundations, right? So if you know or you understand those foundations, then everything related to art becomes a lot easier. If you just try to focus on the software, on the tools, on the buttons and stuff like that, then it becomes a little bit more complex. You sent a message? Drop it over here. Oh yeah, there we go, Sajan. Okay, so Sajan Haldar. There we go, let's take a look. Okay, so first thing I noticed on your portfolio, my friend, is the fact that there's a lot of stuff, okay? Usually a portfolio should only be your best pieces. And I know that you know that some of these pieces are not your best pieces. You probably have them here because you were proud when you did them back in the day, but now they might not be as good as other pieces that you have here with the whole thing. So for instance, this demon right here, it probably took you a couple of hours to do it, and you even say it right here that this is a practice sculpt. So this sort of things should not be on your portfolio. This usually are better in things like Instagram or Facebook or Twitter or like other social like media, because people will take a look at your stuff and they will question why you thought it was a good idea to add something like this when you have other really powerful pieces like this one right here. This is a really powerful piece, I think. I'm not sure where you're doing the render for this one, but the rendering could really improve your stuff. It looks like it's on Blender. If you polish the rendering a little bit more, I think you would get like a really, really nice result. Because the maps, the textures, everything looks nice, but the render is very flat. And usually for this type of characters, you want something that looks a little bit more powerful. I'm gonna show you a friend of mine, Kevin Lowell 3D. So this is Kevin Lowell. He graduated with me in Noman, from Noman like a couple of years ago. And he is a huge Monster Hunter fan. Look at this. He only has 4 pieces in his portfolio, but all these 4 pieces are amazing, right? So he doesn't need more pieces because with this, you are pretty much like sure of the level that he has. And then he did this sand dragon. Look at the render. Look at how he like created this render right here. He went for a very nice like key light coming from the top, and then a really nice soft light coming from the back. He's using an infinite background, which is something that I always suggest. And we have a clay render where things are a little bit more precise. We have a wireframe render, also very important. So if you can use that and implement it on your character, I think your character is going to look even better. Oh, this coffee is really hitting the nail, hitting the spot just right. Yeah, Alex K, check that video. It's a really good like starter for ZBrush if you've never used it before. So yeah, I think you have really good pieces like the steampunk flag. I know where you got this from. It's one of the tutorials that we have in the channel. This cyberpunk samurai is nice. Like the form of the head it's okay. I would recommend learning how to open the mouth, because right now I know that this mouth is just sculpted. But in general, these are good forms and good textures, so that's good to see. And do a little cleanup. Like be really honest with yourself and ask yourself, do I really need to have like this little creepy looking Iceman in my portfolio? And the answer is probably no, right? Like I know this was probably one of your first things. I like the fact that you did the design and everything, but from a quality perspective, it might not be the best one that you have. And instead of helping you, it's gonna hurt you, Okay, so that will be my advice. David is asking, you mentioned foundations. What is the best way to learn those foundations besides from traditional schools like Nolan? There are traditional tutorials out there as well. Actually, I've been fighting to make an anatomy course, like specifically focus on anatomy. But the problem is a lot of people won't buy that sort of stuff because they find it to be like boring or things like that. For instance, when I did the cinematic course, I talked a lot about lights, I talked about composition, I talked about like depth and stuff like that. And those are like the foundations that you need to learn to create like good pieces, right? So there is information out there. Color theory, design theory, graphic design. I always like to use this example. I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with the Bauhaus. But art history is one of those things that when I was a student, I always thought it was like really stupid, especially like modern art history, because I'm not a huge fan of modern art. But then I started like really learning about it, and it's like, damn, there's so many valuable things. So here's a quick history lesson. The Bauhaus was a movement that happened in Germany. I'm not sure if it was before World War II or after World War II, but it was in the early like parts of the century. And the Bauhaus follows this very interesting like concept, this very interesting like ethos, which is form follows function. Okay, so if you're designing a chair using the Bauhaus principles, the first thing that you need to make sure that the chair does is that you can use it to sit on, right? Because if you have a chair that's uncomfortable or that you can't use to sit on, then it's not a chair, right? So they were really like square and really like controlled in the way they design things, and everything was functional. So they follow this like very nice stylized functional style. Okay, and that sort of things, like those are like nuggets of information. If you apply those to your creatures, to your environments, to your props, to stuff like that, then you will start building a library of information and a library of rather than information of like justification. Like you're gonna be able to explain why you did the things that you did for your things, for your concepts, and that's what makes it very, very valuable. In all of the courses that I teach, I always try to introduce a little bit of that sort of stuff, like a little bit of history or design principles and things, because I find those things to be really, really valuable for any artist. Icy Film says, I really love how Blender add-ons and GeoNodes look. I'm learning Maya and on the Academy. Is it okay to change to Blender? Is there a big budget company that uses Blender? I know there are some big studios that are using Blender now, and I was actually talking about this with my friend yesterday. The thing is, it doesn't really matter what software you're using. What matters is the result that you can produce. There are, of course, some compatibility issues where you might not be able to use Blender because you're not using like the exact render engine or something. But nowadays, as long as you, like, for instance, for modeling and sculpting, it really doesn't matter where you do it. You're always gonna like retopologize and get it ready for another software. So I do recommend learning Blender on the side, like picking up and seeing how you feel with it. But if you're already proficient with Maya, it's fine to keep working on Maya. Like I consider myself a Maya, mainly a Maya user, so I use Blender as well every now and then, but most of the stuff that I do it's Maya. The one thing that's interesting, and we talked about this a little bit last month when Maya announced the new update 2024, is it seems like Autodesk and Zbrush, like they're not investing as much on innovating, and Blender has been doing some really, really cool stuff. So I'm a huge fan of competition, because competition breeds innovation, right? So when you're the only guy that's doing something, or the only company that's doing a software, then you don't really care because you're the only option. So you can do like very simple things. When you have competition and they're doing like really cool stuff like the geometry nodes from Blender, then you're like, okay, I gotta step it up, because otherwise I'm not gonna be able to stay competitive. Let's see, David says, that's probably why I love your tutorials and I followed a lot of them. You dive very deep both in tool and theory, and then I'm personally able to evolve beyond, read more, etc. I'm gonna share a personal anecdote right now. Most of you already know, but I was actually studying medicine before I jumped into 3D. I went through 1 year of med school here in Mexico, and I realized that was not my stuff. Like I didn't really want to be a doctor. I was not like having issues with the classes or anything. I've always been very nerdy in that way. It just didn't feel like fulfilling as a career. So I switched to 3D, and it was really complex because I've never like drawn or painted before. This was when I was like 17, so no, 18. So I started my journey, and I prepared a portfolio, and I went to Los Angeles to Noman and presented. And the girl that was there at the admission office, she was like, "Hey, I've seen your stuff. It's okay, but you don't have what it takes." And it hurt. It really hurt when she said it. She said it that way, right? But she was like, "You're not ready yet." And I was like, "Damn, like why am I not ready? I've been doing tutorials. I've been doing like things. I've been like preparing myself." And she was like, "The thing is, we don't want to create people that only know how to push buttons or how to use Zbrush. We want to create artists. In order to do that, you need to understand other things that are not just like the technical side of things. You need to understand the reason and the design principles behind all of this." And thanks to that, she recommended that I jumped into the 3-year program, where the first year of the school was all about like traditional art. And it really helped. And it has stayed with me for all of these years, because she was right. Like it's not only important to know where the buttons are and what functions and what like softwares and plugins you're going to be using. It's important that you understand the design principles so that you applied all of those to your characters or to your creations. Randomly Doodles says, "I was told at uni that some companies don't care what software you use as long as you understand fundamentals. They'll teach you software but not fundamentals. Some studios will." Yeah. Then that's another like big thing. There's most of the big studios, they work with very like modified versions of the softwares that we normally use. So it's not about the software, it's about the fundamentals. Georgie says, no, sorry. Georgie says, "I uploaded my portfolio too. Would be super happy to have it reviewed." Yeah, of course. Give me 1 second, Georgie. Alpha says, "Do you think having a dream to be a generalist too ambitious for a beginner?" No, it's not ambitious. I'm a generalist. Originally, I wanted to be a character artist, and that's like my specialty. That's where I specialize a little bit more. But I'm technically a generalist because I can do pretty much all the pipeline except for VFX. That's the only part of the pipeline that I'm not good at, or like even proficient at. I'm a beginner and I want to become a movie director, so I want to make a 3D concept art free reference fast while watching Blender add-ons. Video seems to make complex objects fast. Doesn't Magic could do? Yeah, you could do something similar. Now, here's the thing, ICFilm. If you want to be a director, rather than learning 3D, I mean, it's important that you know 3D, right? But one thing that I heard from Guillermo del Toro, super famous Mexican director, he's like, just grab your cell phone camera and start recording. Do small shorts, do small productions, small documentals. That's how you learn how to be a director. Because 3D is not like, I don't know of any 3D artist that successfully made the jump to a director. It's complex. We're in a different part of the production pipeline, so it might not be as easy to do that. That's why if you want to be a director, you need to do more like filmmaking and stuff. Go with is this the one? Georgie Ramesh Goroy? Let me know if it's the one, Georgie. I don't think so. You mentioned you were from well, you lived in Georgia, so maybe it is. Let me know if it's the one or if you uploaded to other Jan, Fresh, Daniel. Did you upload to Drive? There we go. It's a Google Drive. Okay. And don't worry, everyone else. We'll do a portfolio review in May, so don't worry. We'll take care of everyone. Okay. So same like general advice that I just gave Sayan. There are certain things like right out of the gate that I'm not loving because they're very simple. Okay, so this one right here, this pocket knife, for instance, I always tell my students, if the model that you did could be done in 1 day, it's not worth it to be on your portfolio usually. Okay, so this one right here, it's very simple. It's not bad, but it's very simple. So it might not be the best piece for your portfolio. You do have some nice pieces, like for instance, I really like this Messy Artist. This one looks fun. The render is in Marmoset. Again, the render could be improved a little bit, but it's a nice asset. This one looks good. Apex Legends Grenade. Careful with the metal edgeware. I always repeat this one. Metal edgeware should always be painted on top, and you should remove a little bit of metal edgeware from some parts because objects will never be damaged in a uniform way. and this is what we're seeing right here. We're seeing a damage that's very, very consistent, and that should be changed a little bit to make it a little bit more organic looking. This one looks cool. Killjoy turret. This one's nice. Looks a little bit more like a proc for a video game, so that's nice. Just careful again with the metal edgework because it's everywhere. And whenever you're doing these mechanical things, it's always a good idea to show a wireframe render. I know we have Marmoset here, like the Marmoset viewer, which is great. But if you can show a render, so that we can see the amount of triangles. Yeah, so for instance, this one right here is really high on triangle count. It's almost 2,000 triangles. So this would be not for a game, but for something like a movie or like a cinematic. And if that's the case, I think you can push the textures even higher to get even better results for that. So we do that in the Lion course if you wanna check it out. Oh, there you go, David. You're from Georgia as well. Nice. Yeah, we'll get the map there. Let's see. Icy Film says, I worked as a film staff for 6 years and made some short films in university. I wrote some movie scripts, but I'm not good at drawing, so I started to learn Maya and Zbrush. Okay, I see where you're coming from then. Yeah, it's I think that's the way then. Like, if you can use 3D as a way to explore your ideas and get your foot or your name out there, that works. The environment looks good, man. This looks really, really good, Georgie. These renders are quite nice. Did you do everything, or were you just rendering? If you did everything, this is really, really cool. So yeah, I would suggest doing some more complex things, like small little environments. For instance, this messy artist that I told you I liked, doing the little like artist office, I think would be a good idea. And I can see that you're rendering most of these things inside of Marmoset. Marmoset is really good, but if you can learn how to render this inside of Unreal or inside of Maya to get some like better lights, that would be a good idea as well. Now, I'm not sure what version of Marmoset you're using. I actually haven't installed mine after I had formatted the computer, but try turning on ray tracing as well. That might give you some nicer bounces for the whole thing. Georgian letters on this one right here. Yeah, right. There we go. Cool. So, I think I'm gonna stop the stream now, guys. We are running over 1 hour, and I know this was a slower pace stream, but we're able to do a good. We're able to create some good forms here for the character. Next time when we come back to this character, we're gonna be doing the fine details, like the wrinkles and stuff. And I need to find what to do with like the big carapace right here. I'm thinking about doing like turtles, where they have like bulges, jump areas, and then using something like trim dynamic to harden it up. So otherwise it looks very empty up here. We can play a little bit with something like that. I think that looks interesting. Yeah, thank you guys, thank you. So tomorrow we're gonna have a special announcement because we're gonna be running our promo. We're gonna have our April super sale. So if you guys have been wanting to get any of our courses, just wait until tomorrow so that you can get a huge discount, and it's gonna be here on the channel. So that's gonna be it. I'll probably upload something on Sunday as well, and then I'll see you back on Monday for our Monday live stream. Sounds good? Other than that, remember that we have our Discord channel. I'll share it again if you're just tuning into the stream. We got our Discord channel, and you guys are free to join it. We have questions there, showcases, and stuff like that. So I will be really happy to see you over here in the channel. And if you guys are from a specific country that we have not like scratched off our map, make sure to tell me so that we can scratch it up. Today we got Bangladesh, Brunei, China, Georgia, and Ethiopia. So yeah. That's it, my friends. That is it. Thank you very much for tuning in, and I will be seeing you back very, very soon.